very warm welcome, good evening to everybody. Namaskaram to everybody who has joined us here in Visakhapatnam. We're extremely happy to be here at the beginning stages of what is being called as the Global Bharat Movement by SAP India. And this entire movement had its genesis about 3 years ago in the peak of the pandemic, during the darkness of the lockdowns. That's when it all began. SAP India was clear that it's time to reach out to the mid-market companies of India across India, sort of middle India of corporate India. And when everybody was inside lockdowns, that's when SAP India began their outreach program for mid-market companies in India. An outreach program that does everything from providing expertise to mentorship to everything and anything possible in the digital transformation journeys of middle market companies in the country. And that served as the bedrock for Global Bharat Movement. It's all about you, the customers of SAP India. Global Bharat Movement is now evolving into another phase, into another level. It's just upping the ante, as the cliche goes. It's Global Bharat Movement 2.0. So the Global Bharat Movement 2.0 has about 3 pillars, standing pillars, as to why and how SAP India has envisioned this and how it's going about it. Number one, and the most important thing, is that to tell mid-market companies in India that India is the most resilient economy in the world. To make sure that that message is sent across. Yes, there are issues, but where are there no issues? Every country, every economy is dealing with headwinds and tailwinds as they speak. SAP India, in fact, helps Airports Authority of India manage 137 airports in this country, touching 160 million passengers and 900 million tons of cargo every year. Part 2 is that to send the message of those customers of SAP India, so many customers, who have succeeded with their digital transformation journeys. What impacted them? How did it change their lives? Because digital transformation is not restricted to one sector. It's across the board. It's universal. It's the most ubiquitous thing that's possible in today's day and age. How did it impact them? The stories, the success stories, the experiential stories, to let mid-market companies in India know that they can do that too. Pillar 3 of Global Bharat Movement 2.0 is to make sure that mid-market companies in India get the right messages from the right people. In my business, in the media business, we call them talking heads or sound bites, as we're called. The right people, thought leaders, experts, people who have done this a gazillion times over, them sending the message of what the economy is all about, of what their experience of digital transformation is all about, and how important digital transformation is, because there is no question, there's no dilemma, there's no whether or not. It's how soon can we digitally transform ourselves. That's the challenge over here. Kick off the proceedings. The opening address will be on future state of mid-market and India's economic leadership. And to deliver this opening address, may I request Mr. Vinod Palakil, Regional Director, SAP India, to please come to the stage.
The Global Bharat Movement is SAP's ode to all the businesses who have given this tight battle and to become self-reliant. So what is SAP India doing? What we are going to do, we kick-started this Global Bharat Movement in Bangalore, and this is the second city that we are doing, Vizag. And over the next total of 90 days, we're going to cover the length and breadth of India, going to those high potential business clusters with the intention of meeting a lot of businesses, thousands of businesses in fact. We're going to invite the business associations, the industry associations. We're going to have thought leaders in such sessions, and we're going to have SAP experts, right? And what's our intention? Our intention is to ensure that we convey our learnings in terms of how SAP as a company is doing in terms of providing technology for businesses to actually bounce back. Because there's a huge opportunity that we see, which I'll talk in the future slides. While we speak about the market, and we spoke about the leading indicators. How is it affecting the IT industry, right? If you see this particular slide, I'd like to point your attention to, if you see the data center systems, right? This is actually going down year on year over the last 5 years. Why? A lot of businesses believe that cloud is the way to go. Nobody wants to invest and create, capital expenditures on hardware. So if you see, the device segment is also negative. The only positive that you see is the software. Investments in software is growing year on year. Why? Again, businesses believe that this is the right time for businesses to invest in cloud software to ensure that they can service their customers and take their products that much more faster in the market. Couple of facts on this, what I would like to say is, since the year 2000, right, not very far away from 23 years, if you see 52% of Fortune 500 companies have vanished. They're no longer there. Why? Because they failed to innovate. They treated business as usual. There were other people who were investing who overtook them. So there's a new Fortune 500 that is built up. From 1995 to 2011, it took Fortune 500 companies on an average of 20 years to reach $1 billion evaluation. It just takes 4 years for a startup to reach $1 billion evaluation. Right? So what are they doing differently? Right? They're taking the same products, but they're taking it quickly. They're taking it with new business models. Now, where are we actually seeing this? If you look at a lot of analyst reports, and if people here have actually followed the World Economic Forums, the prediction is that 50% of human tasks will be automated by 2025. Right? And we see that today. If you see Chat GPT, it's a classic example saying what are the mundane things will be taken care automatically. Right? But at the same time, it gives organizations a flexibility to actually go ahead and automate certain tasks, leave it, and use people and processes to create new business models. Right? So it gives us an opportunity today in the market. So whoever captures it first becomes the king. Second, 20% of the revenue growth comes from newer opportunities. Any company that's actually growing, their revenue comes from newer markets, launching newer products, venturing into places where they never existed. Right? What is providing them this particular confidence and backup? It's the technology. Last, obviously, we're talking about data analytics from probably 20 years. But now is the time where organizations are actually created the new gold, which is data, using that to take real-time decisions. Gone are those days where you'll use over data, create an Excel sheet, create a graph. System is capable to give them to take a decision instantly in terms of how to perform better. What is our goals as India to become a 10 trillion by 2030? Is it possible? Of course it is possible. It must be daunting, but still. We see that the enterprises that are actually growing will definitely go ahead and contribute. So what this survey actually created is, it created a missing middle, which means that if we have to actually go and become a 30 trillion, what we need is, we need at least 1,200 mid-sized companies to become big, right? So they create a void, and this missing middle will be filled by these small mid-market customers, right? And we expect about 10,000 companies needs to fill that particular missing middle, which is where people are competing, which is where businesses are competing. And what this does is, right, not only creates economy, it creates a lot of jobs, it creates a lot of revenue, it increases our economy, and this is the only way how we can actually get to a 30 trillion. So what is SAP doing with all this? Over the years, like I said, we have seen transformation happening at every level. So what we have launched is a solution called as Grow with SAP. So what is Grow with SAP? In simple terms, it's a cloud ERP which comes tailor-made that customers can adopt quickly, go live extremely well with industry best practices. So why are we doing this? If you see in the world, there are a lot of challenges that the world is facing. One, supply chains are fragile. I think we've seen that during the COVID, right? Though we had orders, though customers had orders, they didn't have the supply chain to actually go ahead and supply it. Second, I'm sure you know the tighter talent pools. In getting talent pools is a bigger issue the world is actually facing in enterprises. The cost of money is increased. And of course, we all know the political and the financial instability that is actually created with wars, with inflation, etc., this will obviously continue. Or to stabilize, it will take some time. And lastly, I think the energy costs are skyrocketing. Now, what are businesses actually telling us? Right? Businesses are saying, we have a lack of ability to be agile. When such disruptions happen, can I be really agile? Can my organization quickly change from what we are doing to what we can do? How easy it is, how tough it is. That is how organizations are thinking. Second, existing businesses have a lot of disconnected processes, right, within the organization. Forget about how we interact with our suppliers, how we interact with our customers. But I think within the organization also, there is a lot of disconnected processes. Third, I think what business owners also say is there's no transparency on the performance. Today, every business owner wants to actually have a predictable way of growing. They want to predict what is going to happen to the business in future now, looking at the data that they have today, and then take those corrective actions to ensure that the objectives are met. Right? These are the challenges that we're seeing. And last, obviously, there are a lot of these enterprises who were those small businesses, mid-market businesses, who have outgrown their existing system. They have an aspiration to grow. They have an aspiration to capture this missing middle. Right? They want to move away and see how they can quickly do. So you need a system which is extremely agile, which is quick. Gone are those days where an implementation of SAP used to take months, probably years. Right? We have a system today where we have cases, which will anyway talk today during the course, but we have cases where customers have gone live in 4 weeks. Grow with SAP. The system allows you to grow, create new customer models, create new business models like subscription, you think about the model, the system is extremely flexible to do that. With this launch, I would say what we have is we have a 14-day trial version today available for all of you to go ahead and subscribe. Right? Use it. It has pre-built scenarios. It has pre-built data. It has pre-built content. It is made extremely simple, easy to use. All of you have Facebook here, I'm sure, or Instagram rather. I'm probably old to have a Facebook account, which I've deactivated, by the way. But consumer grade. The point that I'm trying to say is it's consumer grade. The user screens are extremely easy to use. Right? With the new talent pool who's going to come, the new millennials who are going to become our future employers, they need simple system. They need the transactions to happen simple. They need out-of-the-box analytical capability, etc. So this is what we have actually launched. And with this, I would again want to warmly welcome everyone to this particular session. And I hope each one of you have something to take away from the other panelists, the thought leadership, and the discussions that we're going to have today. Thank you so much.
Cloud is the way to go. And if cloud is the way to go, one of the best ways for cloud to go is public cloud. What is public cloud? Why is it very important for mid-market companies in India? Why is it important for you to know and access and make use of public cloud? And that's what our next address is all about. Public cloud, a gateway for mid-sized companies to start their digital journey. And to do that, we have Mr. Prabhakar Shastri, Managing Director, IKM Solutions, coming on stage. Mr. Prabhakar Shastri, please put your hands together for Mr. Prabhakar Shastri. Thank you, sir.
We work very closely with SAP to reach the status of Gold Partner, where we understand SAP overall plan in terms of what they're trying to do to make overall India self-reliant in terms of making sure that everyone is digitized and transformed to the market ready. That's what we do. We work very closely with SAP. And we have a team of experts within our organizations to make sure that they deliver the value to you. Most of the times when you talk about these transformation projects, people come with IT background, people come up with some kind of technology background, they don't talk business. But here in IKM, we talk about people who has got domain expertise, they come with your business language. So we talk to manufacturing companies, we're talking about production planning, we go to sales and distribution companies, we talk about just-in-time delivery. So that's the kind of experts we have got within the company, and that is also one of the USP as a IKM to deliver this transformation what we have got. We are one of the leading partner across India where we understood how public cloud can deliver the value to the customers. I'll just take probably a bit of a time about what is public cloud, what we are trying to do. The more details will be followed by other colleagues, my colleagues in the further sessions. Today we talk about a software means we talk about a server, we talk about some Excel sheets, and we probably try and have a backup system, and we try and have an update contract with your vendor. Probably all these things you will deal with different people. With public cloud, all these things with one, and that company is SAP. That means you will have everything under one roof that will be within SAP, and that means you will use your ERP like your Gmail. You will use your ERP like probably the way you transact over your Swiggy or Zomato. You will have mobile apps to do your business transactions. That's the power of public cloud, which you will see much more detail going forward. And we work with SAP again to build the solutions on public cloud for various verticals. So we have customers from pharma industry. We have customers from who are into high-tech distribution industry, and each of the customer requires some specific inputs, some specific add-ons, and which we built on top of SAP as well, which we give value to our customers as part of our projects. Overall, every organization runs on some financial package. Some organizations will run on Tally, some organizations will run something else, and they'll be adding, if you look at, some people will be using some solutions like tailor-made, which they built it over a period of time, and some people will be using probably Excel sheets to manage the overall business, right? Now, how do you bring all these things under one roof so that you can become a technology ready for any kind of a business model what can come in? So that means how we can be ready for any kind of a scenario other than integrating internal process. Integrating internal process anyway is a need for us. We have to connect to all between our departments, our manufacturing, sales and distribution, your production planning, all these things you need to integrate. But at the same time, you need to connect with your employees, you need to connect with your vendors, you need to connect with your CRM. But all these things can happen only when you have a digital platform. That's where SAP Public Cloud can help you by doing that very effectively with all those functions and features what is required for you today as well as tomorrow. That's the advantage of SAP Public Cloud, and Global Bharat Movement is basically to educate all the enterprises to bring that knowledge, and as well as just to remove that thought SAP is only for large companies. It is not. Most of my customers, out of 200 customers, 150 customers are mid-market customers. Their turnovers probably as minimum as 50 crores to probably they are reached up to $1 million. So we have seen customers from various segments, and this public cloud is affordable, at the same time easy to consume and easy to go live, the way they explained a little while ago. In this growth movement, how we can be relevant, how we can catch that wave. That's what actually we advocate our customers. When it comes to this transformation, how do we do this transformation, and what is the journey? What steps we need to do as a company? If you were to ask this question, the way that we can do is that we work with a set of methodology which is proven time and again with our experience of last 20 years. We actually follow a 5-step methodology called START: strategize, transform, adapt, realize, and sustain. Basically, these 5 steps we follow, and each of the steps has got some set of activities which we do to make sure that we get the value what is required. As a leading provider of SAP, what we do is that we kind of enforce the change management within your organization. Most of the time you would have seen, right? When you bring a new system, there is a resistance, right? You would have seen that, right? In your places. You would have seen people saying that, hey, it's very difficult compared to what we used to do. Am I right? You would have seen, correct? Here what we do is, we actually, again, spend time in making them understand why this change is important. It has to be a bit of a top-driven approach. We consult our customers and customers steering committee to make sure that they understand the change management is important for them, and we kind of standardize this process. We ensure that we standardize the entire process. How you can take advantage of a cloud again when you use standard product? The minute you actually spend customizing it, you will lose the overall the core need of having a standard system. So that's where we effectively do the change management. We standardize the business process. We make sure that we implement this standardized business process by using S/4HANA, by using CRM tools, by using other tools within SAP. Make sure that the transformation journey is completely taken care within the system. And when we actually try to do all these things, we have measurable KPIs. In the strategizing stage phase, we did what all the KPIs we need to deliver, and those KPIs are effectively kind of monitored whether we are releasing it or not in the transform phase. The value is measured only by the output of the system. And whatever the KPIs we set in the first phase, we start monitoring it here in terms of benefits. The transformation exercise is complete. The benefits are to be seen. How do you see? You see the report, and you need to see the overall analysis. You need to see the month-end closing is happening very faster. Assume You do the closing on 10th, probably you might need to do this closing on 5th. That's what is your target after implementing the system. Is it happening or not? You want to cut down inventory cost by probably 2% or 3% the overall inventory carrying cost. Have we done it or not over a period of 3 months? We're supposed to make our DSO, daily sales outstanding, reduced by 10% or 5% with that. Have we done it or not? All these metrics which we put in the strategies phase, we actually try and see what actually we got. We might get sometimes 7%, 8%, 1% more, 1% less, but it is important for us to realize the value. That's what we advocate our customers to see the data as an outcome and make sure that they embrace the overall digital transformation what is happening. We worked with across 200 customers in multiple industries. We worked with automotive industry, we worked with healthcare, manufacturing, professional services, sales and distribution, mill products. We worked with, just to give you a thought, in healthcare means it's just not healthcare. We worked with from a API manufacturing to a hospital. You talk about drug manufacturing, you talk about medical equipment manufacturing, distribution, diagnostic equipment, so everything. So healthcare and all sub-verticals, manufacturing and sub of the verticals. I have got automotive ancillaries as a customers. We worked with currency, which is a manufacturing of a process. So we worked with a lot of customers in that way. And over a period of time, we gained expertise, and we want to make sure that whatever the knowledge we have got, we want to pass to our customers, and at the same time learn from the problems from whatever they're facing, and find out the solutions what we got, so that the overall it can be a win-win situation. With that note, I would like to say thank you, Visakhapatnam.
Quickly moving on with the proceedings for the evening. Grow with SAP, and to do that, let me invite upon stage Mr. Rajesh Nayak, Senior Pre-Sales Specialist. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Rajesh Nayak.
So what are the industry best practices? So what we are giving you is a full-featured SaaS cloud ERP, right? So SAP has been in the business of creating software for businesses for the last 50 years, all right? This year we are going to complete our 51 years. So with that, what we get is a 50 years worth of knowledge of what are the industry best practices for quite a lot of industries. We have a diverse industry base, as you might know, as the the announcer also talked about various statistics that SAP, that touches SAP systems. So what we have here is, first of all, the lead to cash, all the way from your sales quotations to your accounts receivable. We have source to pay. So anything starting from your purchase request to your quotations, to your orders, to your payables, right? So all of that is covered. We have plan to fulfill. So you have manufacturing companies who would like to run their MRPs and able to, and they need to make sure that all the inventory of all the materials is at the right levels, as well as they are able to produce, run their productions, do the production execution, as well as do the store operations, as well as transport their finished goods and semi-finished goods to other business partners. And we also, what we get with public cloud is that you are able to even do consolidations in the same system, right? So if you, let's say you are a business with multiple entities, right? We would be willing to cover till 50 entities in the same system, which is a very big win-win for a lot of customers, possibly in the real estate industry, right? And what we also provide are a set of automated solutions, a set of very special solutions like automatic, advanced finance closing or cash management, which will help you to manage your finances better. Yeah, so basically all of it would be covered in the standard SAP suite, all right? All of it would be covered in the standard SAP suite, so any and every company can basically consume it and directly go live in a matter of 4 weeks. What digital discovery is that during the pre-sale cycle, SAP will engage with the customer, the partner like ICAM would engage with the customer. And what we do is we basically take the customer through and tell them what are the specific scope items, right? The best practice scope items you would be needing to run your business. We give access to the customer to this particular tool, and what you could do with this particular tool is you could click on these best practices, and you'll be able to get into the best practices. What are the processes covered as a part of the best practices, and you would also be able to look at the process flows of the best practices, right? And in case you want to understand much more in detail, you could also get into the offline demos here. So customers have access to it all for free, right? You could basically go into the process and find out how the processes work, right? And with that, what happens is you get an idea as to what are the best practices you are going to get as a part of your project. You can even phase out your scope items. Like, you might possibly go for finance as a first phase and probably MRP as a second phase. So you can do all of that. You can plan all of that using the DDA tool. What you also get is a proper horizon visual theme, which is a very intuitive theme. Gone are those days of those black and white screens of ERP. We have a new age colorful ERP, as you may say. And let's say, whenever we do these kind of engagements with the customers, right, around 80% of the business processes, right, fit with the industry standards, right? But there's that 20% of business process which kind of, is the differentiating factor for you. So what we give you is a set of tools. Now there are two types of set of tools. One is the embedded set of tools, okay? So the way we pursue these particular breakthroughs is we provide it in two types of tools. One is low code, which any business user can use, and it's just a drag and drop. And the other one is pro code, right? So there might be certain custom business logic where you have to run write a little bit of code and add a little bit of skin over and above the current business process that you have. So what we do is, with these kind of tools, like for example, it might be a small change like adding a field to a particular screen, to somewhere where you have to build a total dealer management system, right? We have customers from consumer products who want to build their entire dealer management system so that they can get their secondary sales data. So that can also be built using our platform called Business Technology Platform, which is a set of intelligent services. And what it also gives is a way for the customers to build their own applications, build their own innovations over and above whatever is being delivered by SAP. So that way you definitely get the best of your best practices. Let's say your business has to diversify into multiple types of business, multiple types of industries. Our process covers almost all the industries, right? Almost all the industries. So today, if you are possibly, let's say, a manufacturing company who wants to pursue real estate goals, right? You want to get into real estate business. So you can use the same S/4HANA system for your manufacturing processes as well as for your real estate processes in the same box, right? That way you can diversify your businesses as well. Let's say you've gone through the entire process of, let's say, you starting the pre-sales engagement. So definitely we are building the entire product, but you basically engage with us and partners like IKEM to qualify our ERP as the ERP for you. You go through the entire DDA process where you basically recognize which is the best practice for your system and what is the phasing of the best practices that you are going to go. Now what you could do is you could then basically take an output of that particular DDA and you can import it into something called as Cloud Application Lifecycle Management. This is another tool which SAP is providing for you to manage your project process, right? So let's say you have gone with SAP, you have taken up the DDA process, you have specified what scope you are going to go, and then what you could do is you can basically take it into Cloud ALM and you will be able to manage the progress of your particular project. So we have our customers, as I told you, who have basically took this particular foundation, all right, whatever best practices that we have given, and because of this foundation of the best practices, what they were able to do is they were able to go live within 4 weeks, right? So basically, you also get a predictability with respect to how your project is going. Gone are the days of an year of ERP implementations. What we are going to do with now is with the democratization that the cloud is bringing in, you would be able to go live with confidence within 4 weeks. So thanks a lot for today's session. And I hope this was very helpful for you. So thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you.
Succeeding with technology for the long term and sustainable growth for the long term. And on this subject, we have a fireside chat between Mr. Samir Ayachitula, Territory Manager, SAP, and Mr. A.M. Rao, CEO, Santoshi Mata Edible Oils, joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking your time on a busy schedule. I just want to introduce a brief introduction about you and which company you work and what they do and what is their presence for our audience. It would be better.
Good evening all. Myself is A.M. Rao. We are one of the leading edible oil manufacturers in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. We have 2 refineries in Kakinada and Krishnapatnam. One more we are setting up in Mangalore. Basically, we are dealing with all types of edible oils, importing and processing and packing and selling in the branded commodity. So actually our company started in 1970, but we are actively in the business from the last 20 years of importing business. Earlier we are doing the local oils only. So we have set up our first refinery in 2013 and second refinery in 2017. Third is coming in this year, this financial year. So actually we are selling in the name of Priya Gold brand name. So all across we have almost all 300 distributors in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Apart from this, we are catering part of Orissa, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, which are bordering areas to our 2 states.
With this, I just want to ask you one more question. What was the reason behind taking the decision to choose SAP Rise with SAP Public Cloud? And again, just want to remind you being the first Rise with SAP Public Cloud customer who have signed and went live in Andhra Pradesh.
Earlier, we are using SAP B1 software because we are both the refineries as a standalone companies. So B1 software, SAP B1 is suitable for standalone organizations only. When we are talking about the third organization in Mangalore, then again we want to grow up our business. We have found some limitations in this B1. Because the purpose of identifying these new technologies and all these things, because I think most of you people, well, aware or not, but our industry is a highly volatile industry. The prices are highly volatile, the margins are very thin, the funds requirement is very high. So the customer, even the competition is also very high in this segment. So by considering all the factors, when we are searching for the alternative softwares and all these things, then we approached SAP for a private cloud initially. So when we approach them, they come with a solution with this public cloud, which is almost all tailor-made. When they ask initially, already earlier slides also they have shown us. So what is our requirement, exact requirement? Actually, we don't have any fanciness in that. We have given our exact requirement in a document, 10 to 12 pages document to them. Each and every aspect, whatever we are required in that, what exactly we required. So there is no exaggeration on this. Whether they can fit our requirement in any solution, other solution. So within no time they come out with this solution. Immediately we signed the agreement. I think hardly it's 1 week time only. So we have implemented also. If the go-live is also successful, we are using it. So the other benefits, what we have seen in it is I am also actually earlier I worked with these 2 SAP implementation in my earlier career also, where it took a lot of time, lot of people requirement is there from managements or our side and the SAP side also. Now this time we have completed very fastly with minimum requirement of the manpower allocation from the organization side. At the same time, SAP partners also, they have given the very good support.
What kind of returns that you are expecting out of the system and what is your experience? As you rightly said previously, also you have seen the benefits that SAP will give you. And looking at the current organization implementation, what kind of benefits that you are expecting from the system?
Transparency in the system. The system should be robust. So it should be a foolproof system. It has to be actually on compliance part also. Now there are a lot of compliance from the GST side and other side. We are doing the lot of import business. So we have to, compliance part is very high, where we cannot each and every time we can go this type of report, that type of report. Second thing is the real-time data. Now we seen that the data is updated on every minute by minute. And if you the basic, the person who is working at the entry level, if he enters the data, then automatically the top management can see and the entire thing on it reflects on their dashboards. So at a management level or MD level, my level or my manager's level, at the down level also, at sales level also, all the data is available to them. Okay, if they want to have more sales or the revenues we have to recover from the parties or we have to make the payments and all these things, it is a real-time data which is very useful to us. Because each and every time earlier system means we have to get the report from that particular department and we have to see, then we have to verify, it has to come through a lot of channels and all these things. Now any person can see the data. Once the dashboard is fixed, so MD dashboard is different, my dashboard is different, my production manager dashboard is different, my finance manager dashboard is different. But as a whole, if you see, the entire process is very simplified. Earlier we have a big team for MIS preparation, all these things. Nowadays it is nothing is required in that. So once they are there, that the information is available every minute. The second thing we've given the most preference is the transparency of the system. Suppose if anybody is edited the system, it immediately we can understand through this audit trails and all these things. So which is the management can trust very strongly on that. So once the system is freezed, nobody can touch anything. Because in the organizations, when the organization is growing up, so many people will enter the system, so many things may happen because a lot of sales things will happen. Then pricing is the very important factor for us. The cost sheets are also very important. Even if you all manage these things very carefully, so the payback is nothing to worry in that. So whatever we are investing it, so we are never bothered about the payback in that. We bothered about a system which is robust to our requirement. So which is for this HANA public cloud particularly, it is a cost effective which is useful to us.
I just want to end our chat with our final question. There are so many delegates are there in this room. What kind of suggestion that you would like to give if someone is like to take a digital transformation journey now, or they might be in the middle of taking the transformation journey, being a senior industry leader in this market? What kind of suggestion that you want to give it to them? What are the key parameters that they should look before they take a decision?
Once we decided to have a digital transformation like this, so once the management has to have taken a drive in that. Once they have to be clear on their requirement first. Generally, we should not be fancy on that. So we should be practical. We have to see what is our requirement. Second thing, in our case, what I am telling you, because I am not a great person to suggest you, but I am telling my experience in that. We have seen what is my requirement. We first freezed out our requirement. We have put it in black and white. So we have reviewed on that with the management and now our subordinate staff also. Then this is our requirement for the next 3 to 4 years. Okay. Once we freeze it, we have clarity on our objectives. Second is the change management. Generally, particularly in our manufacturing industries, we are seeing a lot of resistance from the downline employees because they tend to follow certain processes. So something is a little bit difference also. Even you may not require a bigger changes in that. A small difference also, there may be some resistance will come. So we have to first educate them. We have to tell our objectives and goals to them. Then we have to take them into the confidence and we have to train them for that. They are the partner of, while doing this transformation, we made them as a partners of our implementation. So today, even I give one example. In my almost all 20 years of career in senior management, I have implemented 3 SAPs in 3 different organizations. When 2007, when we first implemented, the implementation took almost all 1 year time. A lot of people, lot of resources have invested. The stabilization process also takes a lot of time. Even the changeover time is also very high. In the second is, it happened in 2017. That also, that time it is a S4 HANA, it is a very initial version, I think. The Fury app also there, that is not that much of effective by the time. So that also took a lot of money and resources, lot of time. This time, I think anybody can believe or not, we have not stopped any of our activity. All the activities are continuing it. We are transferred from our B1 system to S4HANA public. So here, the planning is very important in that implementation. So we have to understand what is our scope of implementation, what is the plans we have, then how to train our people to adopt the system. These three are the key issues. Second, ultimately, we have to see our investment on the technology, what are the returns and all these things. So we have to see the direct returns and we have to see the indirect returns also. So what are the transparency in the system, what are the confidentiality in the system, the statutory compliance system and all these things. So by considering all these things, people can take a call on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time, and also congratulations to you once again, the way you went live and the kind of all the hard work that you and your team have gone through in the last 3 months.
Let me bring upon stage the last presenter for the evening. It's secure your SAP implementation. That's what this last session is all about. And I'm going to invite upon stage Mr. Umesh Jagdish, Head of SAP ALM, to make that presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Umesh Jagdish.
First thing which I would like to start with a statement is that SAP Cloud ALM is a steering wheel for your digital transformation, right? So which means whatever that Rajesh explained in the DDA tool which you are going to scope, you will do the exact scoping during your project implementation so that you fast track your project implementation using Cloud ALM implementation capability, which means accelerate time to value. You see the upper part of the wheel, which means from the design, build, test, and deploy. Right from the requirements gathering to the deployment into your production tenant, SAP is going to provide you a SaaS application, which is application lifecycle management, with the support contract that you already have, which means there is no additional cost. There is nothing that you're going to pay more. It's just an analogy I usually take that you buy an iPhone and we have an iTunes to run your applications, right? You have invested in SAP, we provide the set of tools and platforms for you to get the benefit out of it. We also have the operations. You can look into the business process monitoring dashboard. You can look into the user and performance monitoring, which means how the applications are performing for the user, right? There might be a lot of integrations. You can look into the integration failures and proactively predict or proactively monitor the success or the failure of the messages, and you can rightly get into the support team using the Cloud ALM tool. We also intend to give the Signavio, Tricenters. You can do the whole of testing, which is planned in the roadmap. That is also available. You can look into the project management capability, how exactly your project is, and what is the status, what phase we are, whether it is red, amber, green. You can look into the project process by task. You can look into the scoping solutions, whatever you have scoped it during the process of DDA, right? So you can look into each and every scope items. You can also have the analytics, which means for that particular solution process, what is the requirements that you have created, what is the project task, what is the state of that project task, and various dashboards, right? Which means it gives you the bird's eye view of the, your project and the status of your project. Today you might be doing that, okay, the end user calls me as that I have raised a purchase request. Still I have not got any PO number, right? But SAP Cloud ALM helps you to proactively solve those kind of issues. This is basically user and performance monitoring. These are all the theory applications in your S4HANA. How exactly this is performing in various dimensions, right? So with this demo, I will end my presentation. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, now that was a fruitful, fast-paced, snappy evening where we got to hear from everybody from from clients to SAP, everybody sharing their experience of the digital transformation journeys. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a fantastic evening here at Visakhapatnam. Thank you so much. Andariki dhanyavadalu. Thank you so much for being with us.